Yo, what is good, Mugiwaras? It is Mugiwara Matt B here today to give you guys another discussion, a captain's cabin with Ohara and Mr. Morj. So,
How's it going,
What's
guys?
going on, everyone?
Pleasure to be here.
appreciate y'all for coming.
Yeah,
Appreciate y'all
thanks for
for
having us,
coming.
man.
Hey, no problem, no problem. So, um, I know we were talking on Twitter, and obviously we're here to talk about One Piece. What's going on with the current story. What are y'all's thoughts on Wano just before we get into the meat of the discussion?
Ooh, that's a nice question. You want to start, Morj, or should I go?
You go ahead.
Okay.
Like,
Well, for
especially my bad. Especially like with the Odin flashback passing up, like just
right. Well, for me personally, as people who follow my content will know, I'm a big fan of Wano for a couple of reasons. I first of all, I mean, that's just like a thing. I hope most people can get on board with is the artwork. I really enjoy, just the vibe that Oda brings across with like Japanese, Edo style art style he has created for this arc. So that's
okay.
the first thing. I feel like that plays in a big part in this. Then the second thing is I do feel we're in an arc with Wano right now that culminates, and I've talked about this with Morj, I don't know, more times than I can count.
Yeah.
That culminates the entirety basically of the post time skip saga, pretty much. We started basically everything that happened after Fishman Island and maybe even Fishman Island itself. Basically, all of that is now culminating in the Wano arc, right? With the Yonko saga, the arc with Big Mom, obviously the entire Dressrosa Punk Hazard arc serious. Everything is going to Wano. We're all culminating in this arc, taking down Kaido, and basically the crew, in my opinion, and I think most people would agree, taking the next step. Now, with the Odin flashback in particular, since you've asked, I personally, while it was going on, I was a bit unsure about Oda throwing in Roger and Whitebeard to that extent because I did love those chapters and they were awesome, but I did feel they took away a bit of the attention that was supposed to be on Odin. But at the same time, I do get that they were a big part of his story arc. So I guess that had to work. And once the arc was actually done, I personally was I think it did its purpose and I was very happy with large parts of it. So I would say so far, for me personally, Wano has got the potential to become the best arc post time skip for me personally.
Okay.
But obviously, we'll have to see where it goes. It also depends heavily, of course, now on the incoming first big climax of the arc, with the Fire Festival and everything. So depending on this, I guess it has a lot of potential, but obviously, like we can also fall, to a lower level from here. I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, basically, my opinion on Wano, dude, it's kind of on hold at the moment. It's really hard for me to fit because it's basically all going to come down to the next, 20, 30 chapters. And I mean, I personally don't even think that that's the end of the arc. It may be, it may not. This whole Fire Festival thing. I still lean towards it's not the end of the arc. But I think a lot of how Wano is going to shape up is basically going to be decided by this next stretch of chapters. So at the end of Act Two, I had Wano personally at like basically an 8 out of 10. I thought I really liked a lot of the. I really liked the setting of Wano. I liked the artwork of Wano. I liked the fact that there was lots of different pieces kind of coming together, like just in general, like CP0 starting to play a role. It looks like Big Mom and Kaido, that whole thing is starting to pick up, and all of that was taking place in Act Two. I liked that Oda was setting up lots of different plot lines and everything like that. And for the most part, I liked how it all came together by the end of the act to get them ready to set off to um, what's the word? Take their first shot at the Yonko. Now, where I'm at the moment is basically it. If this is the end of the arc and like this is the big final battle, I personally don't feel that enough has been done for me emotionally to feel super emotionally invested, and that's partly because it's reflected in the Straw Hats, and the Straw Hats themselves are kind of taking this pretty relaxed at the moment, and it's been that way for them for a lot of the arc. That's fine if this is the part of the story that gets them invested, and then we've got a whole stretch of Wano afterwards. If this is the climax, then going back and looking at like other past One Piece arcs that I've really loved, like Enies Lobby, Alabasta, even a short one like Arlong Park, those have all had much simpler, shorter arcs, but at the same time, much more at stake it felt for the crew. So that's the main thing that's missing for me at the moment. I had it at about an 8 out of 10 coming out of Act 2. The Odin flashback, which a lot of the arc had been building up to, basically here's my opinion on that, and that's why I'm kind of like up in the air at the moment. I personally liked how Odin's personal storyline ended up in that flashback. I liked his death a lot. I felt like lots of parts of the flashback were a little rushed, but his death scene was one of my favorite scenes, and I think I talked with you about this probably on a Grid Street stream or something like that after the flashback came, after those chapters came. I liked Odin's death overall. The only issue coming out of that flashback for me was that it felt like that flashback was somewhat disconnected from the current day events, right? So we started Act 3 with everybody lined up to go after Kaido and Sachidon Higashima. Then we got Odin's flashback, and I thought that was going to bring a lot more dramatic weight to what's happening today. But it didn't focus too much on the scabbards. It really was just Odin as the primary focus of the flashback. So it was kind of focused, like it gave a good story for this character, but this character is pretty separate from everything that's happening today. Like it's happening in the wake of his death or whatever, but it didn't shift that much my feelings towards the scabbards themselves, because it didn't focus on them that much. So it felt like good flashback in my opinion overall, but pretty disconnected from the story. So now we're back at this point where we're at. I still don't know how the events of Odin's flashback like bring more weight to the current story. I'm sure we'll see that in a little bit, but basically, yeah, it's just going to depend on how this next section plays out.
Okay.
It's kind of, but
all right. So I like what I like what y'all said, or the culmination thing. So Wano is gonna be the culmination of all of these events, right?
yes.
Of the entire post time skip. I agree with that. I have, everything seems to align with, with what you said. And I think that we should use that to make that be the focus of our discussion. Especially with us, gonna speculate on where the bounties are gonna go. So, so I'm of similar sentiment that that with Wano, with where it's gonna go, that after that it's gonna be an arc where the Marines come more into play and the supernova come more into play. I think right now what they're doing is trying to eliminate the biggest threat in the Throne Wars. So if the culmination for everything that we've been that the Straw Hats have been working towards is Wano, I think that the entire theme of the New World is probably the Throne Wars.
Yep.
So you have a lot of different parties that are gonna be on Wano right now. You have the Yonko, you have the Straw Hats, these supernova that are coming up in the world. Also, the Marines are gonna be there. We have a Marine presence with Drake. I'm not too sure about the Revolutionaries coming to Wano. I don't think that that's gonna happen. There's a possible chance that Vegapunk could pop up.
I think Vegapunk's popping up.
Yeah. So there's going to be so many different factions, so many different factors in Wano. I think it's about time that Oda, starts focusing more on a different antagonist. Because after they eliminate these Yonko, who's going to be left?
So, I mean, after they take out Kaido Big Mom, we got Blackbeard for sure. We got World Government and Marines.
And then the Supernova.
Supernova is
At the very least,
That's-
Kid.
yeah, at the very least, Kid for sure. Matt, after the stream,
Hang
I'm
on a
going
second.
to share with you a theory that Ohara's heard this before. I think what I
Yes.
think happens with Kid and such. I'm sharing it after the stream because one, I think it's a good theory. I think, and two, it's just something that I'm saving for my channel, basically. But that's why I don't like talking about what I think happens with Kid, other supernovas, etc. as much. But now someone here.
Oh, who's there?
Okay, dude. So wait, Matt, could you lay out for me, for example, because I think this helps everybody's opinion of like where bounties end up and stuff like that, and how strong characters end up. I think
So-
that's usually based on how you see the rest of the series going, right? So like, you think that there's an arc with the Marines and the supernovas after this. Do you think that's the final arc? Like, lay out for me your thoughts on like basically the next few arcs of One Piece, I guess,
The next few arcs of One Piece.
or like just straight through the end, straight shot, straight through the end.
Straight
Okay.
flipped interview.
Okay. So I think that there needs to be an arc centered around the last road poneglyph for sure. All right. Now, I'm not
You don't think Shanks has it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think that would be too easy for Luffy if Shanks has it.
Right. Even though, I mean, I guess it's possible. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're
by
good,
the
man.
way.
You're good. You're good. I mean, we're here to we're here to talk, man.
Right. I mean, I personally think it would be dope to. I mean, there's a couple of ways I feel Luffy and Shanks will come into contact. I think we probably all agree, right, that it's going to be probably before they go to Raftel. And then one of the things I would personally really like if there was some sort of showdown, like quote unquote friendly showdown between the Red Hair Pirates and the Straw Hats, basically Shanks testing Luffy for his strength. And while obviously this is not going to be like Shanks, like everyone trying to kill each other, since they're still friendly, I imagine would be something like, what we saw with Whitebeard and Roger, where both crews were going at it, full power, but no one got really injured or killed, because they kind of like were holding back a bit. So I think like that would be interesting. And then if you had that brawl and basically Luffy having to prove to Shanks that he's worthy to like set out for Raftel, and then him giving him the Poneglyph, I guess it would be obviously easier than getting it from, I don't know, like, another antagonist, or, like having to find it somewhere. But at the same time, I think it would make for a really interesting arc, and also confirm, that Luffy is prepared to take that final journey, kind of.
Right.
What do you think about that?
So, I mean, I like that. And it would go with the theme that each of the other Yonko had a road poneglyph. So if Big Mom Kaido had one, and then Shanks has the last one that's missing, I would I would like that, but I don't know how I just don't know how I would feel about that based off my what I think is going to happen with it. I think that the Giants are going to give it to Usopp. So
that's also possible, yeah.
I don't know if Elbaf is going to get an entire arc, but like, you remember how we wanted to go to, or the Straw Hats wanted to go to Fishman Island. They kept saying, let's go to Fishman Island, let's go to Fishman Island. And they got tied, that eventually led them to Sabaody. I could see the original mission starting out as, hey, let's go try to find this last road poneglyph. Like, how are we going to find it? So on and so forth. And that leads them to Elbaf. Just by natural events.
Right.
And I think that this Usopp's relationships with the Giants is going to pay off for him with huge dividends. And the road poneglyph was on Fishman Island. That's the last one that we saw, because the first one obviously was in Wano, and then Big Mom had the other one that Roger stole. The other one is on Zoe, and then the last one was on Fishman Island, and I'm talking about in the Roger flashback.
Right.
So how would the other poneglyph be moved? And I mean, obviously, like, someone could take it from Fishman Island, but I don't know under what means, And what I'm thinking of is a giant, because whenever Big Mom said that she could defeat any pirate, of things of that nature, if Lola got married to the giants, I was thinking that maybe she knows that they have another road poneglyph. Because do y'all think that Big Mom and Kaido know about the road poneglyphs?
Where the last one is, you mean?
No, not where the last one is, just the function of them.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
they do, because like they got those like they both have one, so it's either like, oh, they have one because of chance, or it's because like they know that these ones are important.
Right.
oh, Big Mom
So
knows for
I hope
sure.
that they both know.
And I think Kaido knows as well. I mean, Kaido definitely there are things related to the Kozuki that Kaido doesn't know but wants to know and has been hinted at. But I personally think it would be more interesting if Kaido already knew about the road poneglyphs and was just interested, in the Void Century and
Yeah, the
stuff like
void,
that.
like the
It would be a bit,
secrets.
yeah, it would be a bit, bit whack if it was just Kaido being like, "Oh, what are like the red ones for?" Kind of, I
Right,
always wanted
right,
to ask
right.
you,
So
what do I do with this?
Right. Like I hope it's not that, I hope it's not that. I hope they
Yeah,
know what they're for.
Mhm.
And because technically there's two missing road poneglyphs in the world.
Because they don't know Luffy's got one on Zo,
Yeah,
basically.
they don't
right.
exactly. They don't know about the one on Zo. So
Yeah,
there's two missing ones. And then there's the one that was on Fishman Island, but where's that one at now? So I think that the Giants have it. And I think the Giants are going to bestow it onto Usopp, because and that's going to be
that'd be,
the
I like
the
that.
culmination of like Usopp's relationship with the Giants.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so I think that's going to be one arc. I can see possibly the Elbaf and the road poneglyphs being tied together. Okay?
right.
And then how so I said that the Marines would be uh another force, right? We
Yep.
haven't had the Marines chasing around Luffy in a long time.
No, they had
So,
bigger problems. Yeah.
Well, I feel like the thing is, at this point, I wonder, because I feel after Wano. So correct me if you if a different opinion. I think Morj thinks kind of along the same lines, but
mhm,
you can also obviously jump in. I personally think this is the arc where Luffy definitely has to at least catch up to the Yonko, if not even like surpass them a little bit, right? And
right.
so I feel I don't ever see a typical smoker and a couple of warships chasing the Straw Hats scene ever again, because I feel Luffy will just reach a point after Wano where he will be such a big threat that the world government literally can't just, say, "Oh, we're gonna send a random couple of ships after him." Like, if anything, Luffy will be someone who they will send an admiral after or something like along those lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So there. So yeah. So when you say there hasn't been a scene or like a scenario where the Marines have been chasing him for a long time,
mhm.
I'm not sure if we'll ever properly get that apart from an entire fleet of Marines kind of going after Luffy.
Well, okay, I can understand that. What I think is gonna happen, right, and kind of a marine arc. So we can talk about the bounties,
Right.
but I'm just gonna use this point to reinforce this. So uh, I think after Wano, I don't think Luffy's bounty is gonna be over 2.5 bill. I think, or
Oh,
okay, I think the highest that it can go is 3. But I think what's gonna happen, or what's gonna be the case, is that Luffy's not gonna pass Blackbeard yet, right? So Blackbeard's so Blackbeard's around. Blackbeard is on the move right now. Like
right.
I think that Luffy's bounty is gonna go up through Wano, but Blackbeard's is also gonna go up as well.
Because Blackbeard is up to something. Last we
Eh,
saw him.
exactly. He's up
Yeah,
to
for sure.
he's up to something. So let's say that Luffy's bounty goes up to 3 bill, right? After this arc is done. And the
Yep.
reason why it does that is because Kid gets a lot of credit for things, Zoro
Mhm.
gets a lot of credit for things.
Okay.
Law gets a lot of credit. Sanji,
Law's dead.
so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
All right.
Well, Law might die, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the
Plus,
fence with that.
plus, I guess there's still the possibility of other parties, joining into Wano later.
The Marines
Exactly, and
themselves.
that's another reason why I say that the Marines are possibly going to come. We don't know how things are going to play out, right?
Yeah.
So, what hasn't happened that we know of yet? We've never heard of an admiral being defeated in the series, ever.
Yep.
The only one you could probably say is Zephyr, but that's
Oh wait,
movie.
Aokiji.
Yeah, Aokiji.
But
That's what I would
Aokiji
have
was
said.
defeated by another Marine.
Another admiral.
Yeah, by another admiral. I mean, like from an outside source, more so a pirate,
Yep.
a pirate or a revolutionary, someone like that. We have never heard of a pirate defeating one. We know that Garp and Roger supposedly almost killed each other, but I don't think it was ever reported in the news. Goldie Roger defeats Vice Admiral Garp.
At least that we know of. I'll give you at least that we know of.
Right,
Yeah.
that we know of yet. That we know of. So I think, but even still, Garp isn't an admiral.
Yeah.
But you could say that he had the reputation of one.
Mhm.
But still, what I think is going to happen is an admiral is going to be defeated. That's going to be the
Wano?
next. No, not in Wano.
Oh,
like
after Wano.
After, yeah.
Right.
Okay, hold on.
So
So you're basically saying Yonko, Luffy, that's mostly a team effort, so that's not like Luffy beating the Yonko, basically.
Right.
And the next step is Luffy, I guess, solo. You're saying
soloing an admiral, yes.
And then last step is, I don't know if you've got one or two more steps after that. What do you think?
Last step probably the war with the world government.
Okay.
Like after he finds One Piece, the next step is Blackbeard. So how I think it's going down, but just in terms of like how Luffy's gaining his powers. So first, he goes against the Yonko commander. He hones his skill in in observation Haki. Okay,
Yep.
so now he's honing his skill for ornament Haki, and I think the reason why he's doing this is because this ornament Haki that he's learning is the only Haki that is able to inflict like mortal wounds on these admirals and on these people that have crazy mastery over their devil fruits and that have these insane devil fruits. So like Marco, Kaido, Blackbeard, Aokiji, Akainu. Like, and if you go back to Marineford, Akainu seemed to be doing what Katakuri was doing with his devil fruit back then.
Same with Aokiji, I think. Like
the same thing with Aokiji. Whenever Whitebeard stabbed him, and he expanded, only his torso, so that Whitebeard's spear didn't hurt him.
Due to the platform thing, like the three admirals lined up.
Right. They did the force shield. They did the force shield of Haki. Yep. So I think that you need that next level of of ornament Haki to be able to inflict damage, and I'm talking about real damage where you're hurting them, not shoulder tackling Aokiji and making the corner of his lip bleed, or Marco sending Kizaru flying with the kick. Like, so the Haki that damages you from the inside out is essentially what I'm talking about.
So essentially being like a real challenge to the admirals, you mean?
Right, but not just for the admirals, because I think that this Haki is necessary for Luffy to damage Kaido.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's been established, right? Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's the case. Like, it's like with these crazy these crazy characters with these crazy devil fruits. So like Sengoku is probably applicable to this conversation because I mean he has a mystical zone as well along with Kaido. And then after Luffy learns the second level of ornament, he's gonna have a good mastery of Haki. So what's next? He's gonna get a mastery of devil fruit, and I think that he's gonna learn that against an admiral. I think
Plus,
he's gonna
there's still conquerors though.
There's conquerors, and I think conquerors with how we're gonna see conquerors be played out is Shanks and Blackbeard.
Right. I do agree with you. I know Morj.
I'll share mine in a second. Yeah.
I know that you are rather leaning towards Conquerors already being an issue in Wano, but I would agree with you, Matt, that I rather see it happening with either Blackbeard or Shanks.
Like, I don't think anyone has access to a second level of Conqueror's Haki, maybe outside of like that we've been introduced to in the series, maybe outside of Dragon and Shanks.
Roger.
Oh,
I would
yeah,
say
Roger,
Roger
but I'm talking about alive.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I was talking about alive, but yeah, Roger too. Roger probably had advanced conquerors, because if there's
Odin.
advanced ornament and then there's advanced observation, why wouldn't there be advanced conquerors?
So okay, I mean, so my thoughts basically, here's where I land on basically like 5 bill, right? 'Cause, 5 bill or 5 bill plus. All right. It's just because my view is, I guess I've got 3 major. I've got Wano, I view Elbaf, and then I view Final Fight with the world government. And I think Elbaf is a shorter arc.
Yeah, I
And
think
the way I
Elbaf
view
is going to be a transitional arc.
I don't think it's transitional. So basically, like, I did a theory video like a while back. Basically, I think Wano, especially because of going into Wano with Luffy being like kind of softly declared an emperor, Shanks basically saying like it's almost time for us to meet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The impression I got with Wano, especially because it's also the build-up arc, right? Like it's the arc that everything's been building towards. Arc that we're finally fighting the Yonko and stuff like that. I think Luffy comes out of the arc basically. He's not going to solo Kaido. That's definitely not happening. But I do view it as basically more so like he's going to get the lion's share of the credit for it. And I think the fight's just going to come down to Luffy versus Kaido. I definitely think that there's going to be a solo section of it. So I just view Luffy as coming out like. I view this as going to be like a very, very long arc, and Luffy's nowhere close to as strong as he's going to be by the end of the arc.
Okay.
So in my mind, when Luffy comes out of this, the way we'll be talking about Luffy, is he as strong as Kaido or not? It'll be the same way people talked about Luffy versus Doflamingo at Dressrosa, where it's like he couldn't have done it on his own, probably. At least that was the talk at the time. He couldn't have done it on his own, probably, but like he did it when it mattered. Like final round, Luffy took down Doflamingo and stuff like that. So that's how I think people will view Luffy in terms of strength by the end of the arc. And I think like a big deal was made out of. You know that chapter, the big chapter, 957. There was such a big deal made out of bounties and stuff at the time, and the Marines putting up Kaido and Big Mom's bounties and such, and being like, these 2 bounties are ridiculous. Toppling these 2 bounties would be like unprecedented and stuff like that. On top of that, everybody, like every time Luffy beats an opponent who has a bounty, like the dramatic thing to do from Oda's perspective usually tends to be like to top that guy's bounty. Like when Luffy beat all those guys in East Blue, he came out with like a 30 mil bounty, which was like way higher than them. And then when Luffy beat Crocodile, regardless of the circumstances, it was more dramatic to give Luffy that 100 mil bounty over Crocodiles. And like Luffy versus Katakuri, like same thing. Like Oda built up, this is a 1 billion berry man, this is a 1 billion berry man, and then Luffy comes out with like 1.5 billion berry. I think that's just what Oda does. Okay. And this time he seemed to like really set up like, these are the bounties of these 2 guys. It would be nuts if anyone took them down. So to me, like it would just be, it just makes sense that it's being set up. Like this could honestly be Luffy's last bounty in the series in my mind, because possibly
Wano.
No. Yeah, after Wano, because I think that Wano is the second to last major storyline. I view it as basically like this arc will be very long. The Straw Hats will level up very significantly over the course of this arc. It won't just be over the Fire Festival or whatever. It'll be like quite a long period of growth. I think armament's just Luffy's first step. I do think Luffy coming out of it will basically be like positioned as like possibly just the next Pirate King candidate or whatever, right? Then I think, and I put out a theory about this for a long while ago, it's basically Luffy and Shanks at Elbaf. And it is basically, I viewed it as it would very possibly be a Davy backfight. Because in my mind, Shanks would have that last Poneglyph, the road Poneglyph. I think Elbaf is the right setting for like a lot of reasons. Usopp faces his father and stuff, so very important for him. And I think that fight is basically not going to be about growth or anything like that. That'll be the point where it's like Luffy showing Shanks, okay, I've gotten to this point. My crew is as strong or stronger than yours, stuff like that. And that's where Luffy basically they beat Shanks in a Davy backfight. So it's not like a worldwide known event or anything like that that would increase Luffy's bounty. That's just it. Whether it's a draw or a win or whatever, I don't know. But in my mind, basically, that's Luffy collecting the last piece for Raftel. So everything up to Wano was like Luffy's growth. Then Shanks was kind of like proving it that he's come as far and like has fulfilled that promise and stuff like that. And then after they go to Raftel, in my mind, the last fight is just the world government, and that's when the Marines and such. In my mind, if Luffy fights an admiral, I think Akainu is the one that he would fight, and that would happen during the last war or whatever. So, and I don't even know if Luffy gets a bounty after the world government goes down.
Well, okay, so so this is my thing. What I personally think, right, is Luffy's legend. How I don't think he's gonna surpass Roger, just based off this. This is gonna be big, but Luffy isn't gonna be the only player involved in it, and that's why, just in terms of Wano.
Oh, and Wano?
And yeah, in terms of Wano, Luffy isn't going to be the only one involved. And it's not just Luffy's legacy that we have to worry about in the sense, it's Zoro's as well. I feel Zoro's legacy is just as important as Luffy's. So if Luffy was to get to 5 billion and Zoro not even get to 2, I feel like that would be really misplaced, and not just Zoro, but we're talking about Blackbeard as well. Blackbeard is looked at more as a threat than Luffy is, especially at this point. But so I think it's gonna take more than just this. Luffy's legend and how Luffy is gonna surpass the Pirate King. These systems weren't in place when Roger was coming up.
Yeah.
So the Shichibukai wasn't around. The 4 Yonko weren't around. The 3 admirals weren't around. What I think Luffy is gonna be credited for is the person that destroyed the 3 great powers. So if we're really being honest here, how many positions is Luffy responsible of that they're gone? You can say Jinbei. You can say Crocodile. You can say Moria. You can say Dofi. And you can say Law. That's 5. That's 5 altogether that Luffy is linked to. Now, let's go over to the Yonko. Luffy is going to be credited for taking down the Yonko, right? But it's not just going to be Luffy. In this regard, but Luffy did the most of the damage. Okay,
Right.
Luffy goes to Whole Cake Island. He depletes Big Mom's forces. Then he goes to Wano. Whenever he arrives in Wano, because of his efforts, because of his leadership, Kaido's taken down, Big Mom's taken down. I think that the news or that the Marines, because they see how much of a threat Luffy is, that they're not going to publicize it all the way. They're going to find a way around that. And maybe Kid, Zoro is also, I think Zoro comes out of Wano with a 1 billion berry bounty.
I think a lot more. I think in general, I just view it as basically like a lot of the things that you're saying it's too soon for this to happen, or this wouldn't, like, if Luffy's bounty is this much, then Zoro's bounty will be far behind. Maybe it's not far behind. I think that it could very well be like, if Wano is as significant for Zoro as a lot of people think it could be, then I could totally see Zoro hitting multiple billion berry bounty off of this. Basically.
Multiple.
Nah, yes. see, that's I can't. Luffy's not gonna surpass like Shanks yet. He'll be on of equal playing field. Like, I don't see Luffy getting, especially like, look, Blackbeard. You think this is gonna be bigger than what Blackbeard did?
Oh, for sure. Because like Blackbeard took down Whitebeard essentially in that convoluted instance or whatever,
and he took his devil fruit.
And took
he became the first person in history to have 2 devil fruits.
But
Dude,
Whitebeard was
he
not
broke-
this prime
it was
anymore.
being
Though.
Katakuri, and Luffy already got 1.5 bill. Like, just thinking about like Whole Cake Island as a lead up to Wano was where Luffy got 1.5 bill. Like, this is the big arc. Like, this is like that was just a warm up, and Luffy got tripled his bounty. Like, I think
but he
by the
also
end,
got credited for doing things that he didn't do.
and he probably will get that again, dude. Like, I think strength-wise, Luffy comes out of this as strong as Shanks, but with way more influence in terms of allies, etc., etc. Like, it will be something that probably Roger didn't even have in terms of like the number of nations and stuff backing him up. So to me, it's just like Wano is basically like the big by the end of it, basically the big like Luffy coming up as kind of stamping his stuff as like, I'm gonna be the next pirate king. And then the only thing left really, because I view Elbaf as more so of like a more of a friendly fight, or like a, you know, Luffy versus Shanks fight or whatever. The only thing left in my mind is the final war. And that's basically
and Blackbeard.
Yeah, so I view Blackbeard as part of the final war.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think it's too bad if Luffy surpasses Blackbeard in bounty momentarily.
Wait, you
I
don't think
Blackbeard
you
can
don't-
still catch up in bounty if Blackbeard then takes out Shanks or something afterwards.
Well,
but you don't think Blackbeard and the fight against the world government is going to be separate, or did you just basically put that into Endgame?
I think they're both going to be together. I think it all happens at
Really?
Mercury.
Oh wow.
yeah, I think okay, so it's gonna be to the point. Okay, well, hang on. So Luffy gets credited for taking down the Yonko, and then I think out of the candidates to take down an admiral.
I think admirals go down at the end for me personally. Like, to me, that's like the finale.
I think. Well, this is the thing. I think the previous generation is going to be defeated or going to be taken off the map, because once again, my whole basis on this is you have to elevate these other people around you. Okay, so you get rid of we get rid of the Shichibukai system. We get rid of the Yonko that we were first introduced to in the series. Then we get rid of. We finally get rid of the last admiral that we were introduced to. So, you had Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru.
Right.
So Aokiji's not an admiral anymore. Akainu's not an admiral anymore. He's fleet admiral. And then you have Kizaru. Well, another reason why I think it's just going to be good or not even good from a writing standpoint, is because the whole Kizaru angle can come back around.
You saying like what he did to them at Sabaody?
Yeah, what he did to them at Sabaody, but Luffy will be able to stop it at this point.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So, what? My bad, y'all.
Don't worry about it. Is it Corona?
Is it Corona?
Triggered.
But Kizaru coming up, to stop or just to, if they send Kizaru after Luffy, right, in a marine arc, I think Luffy is one of the only people alive that could take out or who's a candidate to take out an admiral. I have Sabo, I have Blackbeard, and I have Luffy as my top three that would take out an admiral.
Right. Well, what I'm going to add to this, first of all, I do agree that Kizaru is by far the most likeliest admiral to be the next one to appear and be the one who's going to be taken down by Luffy, if any of them is, because we don't know anything about Green Bull yet.
Right.
But I would I guess bet a lot that Fujitora is not actually set up as an enemy of the Straw Hats, and I don't see Fujitora facing off against the Straw Hats at the final war, for instance.
For sure. And
Wait, Matt, can I ask this real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
What do you think of this, just color-wise matchups? Okay, maybe it's too straightforward, I guess, but
Nice.
It's just how I've thought about it for a little bit.
Okay.
Luffy Akainu.
Yeah.
Zoro Green Bull.
Yeah.
Sanji Kizaru. You don't buy that?
Nah, I don't. I don't think that Sanji's gonna fight Kizaru, man. I don't think that
You lost faith?
Huh?
That hard in Sanji?
No. It's not that I've lost faith in Sanji. I just think that another admiral. Well, okay. There's two things. I don't know if Luffy is gonna be the one to fight Akainu. as
Oh, I'm
much as
100% on.
much as we would love that, as much as it would be a dope fight, especially stylistically, um, and just how they fight. They're both brawler types. Is gonna be there's the connection there, but I think that Sabo is gonna fight Akainu.
Oh no, I hate that theory so much.
I know. I know a lot of people. I know. I hear it all the time. But I think that Luffy's gonna be too busy with Blackbeard. I can't see Luffy fight. Maybe maybe Luffy's gonna get this strong, but I feel like the next. So after let's say that Kizaru is defeated, or
Yeah.
let's say I'm gonna keep preaching this about, hey, we gotta elevate these other characters. I
Mhm.
think Koby needs to come into the fray, and I think Smoker needs to come into the fray as far
Right.
as Marines that are chasing after Luffy or have that direct connection to him that can meet him on the front lines.
Okay, we're gonna have some more different opinions here, basically.
Okay,
All right.
that's fair.
Have
That's
you
fair.
heard what I think of Smoker by any chance? Talk about
Nah, I haven't. I haven't heard what you think of him, but I know Smoker isn't regarded in the highest of lights.
Smoker, the future Straw Hat Pirate. What about that?
No.
That's what everybody says right away. Everybody says that right away. Okay, hear me out for a second. All right. To me, okay, obviously huge. Why is the character of Smoker in the series, in my opinion? All right. To me, huge theme of the series that Oda pushes a lot. Lines between like what's right or wrong, justice, not justice, etc. Like pirate, marine, these things flip a lot, right? They don't actually matter. It's a lot of like fabrication, etc. That's a huge thing that he pushes throughout the series. To me, from day one, the character of Smoker was basically, I won't say from day one. Okay, it took like a while for me to start seeing Smoker in this light. I guess after Punk Hazard. From the start, Smoker was a character who really was all about justice, hates pirates, views them as the worst, etc. And he also doesn't buy into a lot of what the world government preaches at the same time, right? So most of the time he's following his own sense of justice. And with Smoker and Luffy, he's been chasing Luffy, and every time that Smoker encounters Luffy, the thing that he always sees is basically like what the government is telling him to do and the Marines are telling him to do versus what Luffy does. What Luffy actually does is justice, and what the government does is not justice. So you saw that first in Alabasta, then in Punk Hazard, where he had like a really big conversation with Aokiji, where Aokiji told him like there's a lot of things you learn after leaving the Marines, and I thought that was very important for him. And then at the end of Dressrosa, when Smoker saw again that Luffy does what he had hoped the Marines could do and that Fujitora couldn't do, and that was what their conversation was and such. So to me, that's the trend that Smoker has always been going throughout the series, realizing more and more that Luffy does what's actual justice and the Marines don't do what's real justice. I think that the most powerful thing Oda could do with that character is if he really wants to drive in the theme of like the line between Marine and pirate isn't like it can be blurred and changed and right and wrong flips itself on the head all the time, would be to use Smoker's character from the start as a Marine who hates pirates and is chasing Luffy. And then there's some trigger down the line where he realizes that the Straw Hats are the ones who are most likely to be able to bring like a better world around, and he wants to actually help them in that goal. So the world government recently talked about like a big purge coming. I think Smoker only needs one really big event that's terrible, like genocidal from the world government side, and then one more really climactic, positive thing that the Straw Hats do that he gets to witness. Maybe in Wano, I think that could be the thing for him to decide that he wants to join them on their journey or whatever to the bottom of the world, even if it's just to figure out the world's true history or something like that. But I have a video on this. You can watch it at some point if you want. Maybe not. Most people don't watch other YouTubers' videos and stuff like that. But like to me, that's something that I definitely see is very possible for Smoker's character, and I've started viewing him like that for a long time.
It's a very good video, though.
I mean, I've never really heard that. So I mean, I'm interested to listen to it more in depth. I can't say that I would agree.
It feels really against his
Uh,
character. I know. I know it feels really against his character, but I think that's like the point of it. Like that would be the point of showing like a hardcore Marine shifting to the pirate side to actually carry out justice or whatever.
Well, see, the thing is though, in that front, is that he doesn't have to join pirates to make a change. So we obviously Sword is around. Sword seems even more secret than CP0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I guess in a
what?
different way, right? Because
I think nobody knows that Sword even
Yeah,
exists.
I don't
yeah,
think anyone knows that
because
Sword exists.
Sword is literally the only, I guess, government-sided organization that the government itself doesn't know about.
Right, that they
You know?
can't control, and I think the reason for that is because the Marines have already gotten tired of the of the world government dictating
Right.
what they do, or having a say, and in matters that they shouldn't have, having
Right.
factions as such as the Shichibukai.
Right.
So I think that one Smoker is going to be revealed to be a Marine and Sword.
Mhm.
And also, um, I feel like Smoker is one of these characters that, yeah, he may flirt on the line, just based off the story. Or I don't even want to say based off the story. It may be like a misdirection thing,
Mhm.
like kind of to blur the lines.
Let
But
me
still,
ask you something. Oh, sorry.
I think it's got yeah.
but still, I would say that Koby, Smoker, characters like with their own sense of justice are
Mhm.
going to be the ones that really try to change the Marines from the inside out, or
Yeah,
that try to change the world from the umbrella of a sword.
Kobe for sure. I think Smoker could rejoin the Marines at the end of the series, but at least like I'm so locked in now into thinking of him basically on that path. You know what? I might make another video.
Let me
I don't know. All right, I'll think about
let
it.
me ask you something else though. Do you guys think there is any other Sword member that's undercover right now as a pirate or as something else that might be out there and we're not aware of, similar to Drake?
The Drake reveal was really cool. I still remember that.
Yeah. I saw, for instance, I saw people throwing around the idea that Law might be part of
Oh yeah,
Swords.
I've said that. Yeah,
Oh,
I've said
people
that.
throwing around. Yeah,
What's your reasoning for that?
Oh, my reasoning for that is the Rocky Port
Horizon?
incident.
Oh, okay.
So if you go back to chapter 700, whenever they were introducing the Shichibukai, they said the mastermind behind the Rocky Port incident.
Oh, and Kobe was part of that too.
And Koby was a part of that as well. So what I think it was, right, was Koby and Law were having a meeting at the Rocky Port. Maybe so that Law could report some stuff about about Dofi, or so on and so forth, because I think that hang on, let me backtrack. Why is Law, or why does Law under Sword go after Dofi first? Obviously the connection to Corazon and the connection to Kaido. After Marineford, the two most dangerous pirates in the world were Kaido and Blackbeard. Kaido was on the move to come try to kill Whitebeard, and then Blackbeard obviously did what he did. So you send spies um into these Yonko crews to infiltrate. So I also think that Aokiji is a part of Sword as well.
Yeah,
I guess that's a pretty
I think,
reasonable
huh?
assumption. That's a pretty reasonable assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know people are gonna be like, well, he was fighting Akainu to death. What I think was done was, it said that Akainu spared Aokiji's life. So in the midst of this, I think Akainu told Aokiji, yo, um, you don't have to follow my orders directly. I understand you don't want to follow my sense of justice, but you have your own sense of justice, so go and act that on your own. But you have to do it under the umbrella of the Marines, but you have free jurisdiction to do what you want, how you please. So he operates under sword. That's what I feel like Aokiji is doing. So Aokiji wanted to keep a close eye on Blackbeard. And we know that Aokiji is working with Blackbeard to some capacity.
Right.
But whenever the Gorosei said something to Akainu brushed it off. Like, you know, you don't worry about that. I'm not gonna worry about that. You know? So you have Law and you have Drake. Obviously not as strong as Aokiji, and they obviously fear Kaido as a bigger threat than Blackbeard. Because they know everything that's going on with Smile, so on and so forth. Or that's the, you know, whatever. So what I think is that Law and Koby were meeting up to exchange intel, you know, something along those lines. And their cover was almost blown. Because why is Koby talking with the Shichibukai? Or not a Shichibukai, why is Koby talking with a pirate? So I think that they both came up with a plan. Hey, not only are we going to use sword to do what we want, but we're going to show even further how stupid the world government is for allowing a system like the Shichibukai to be intact. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the hearts of these pirates. You're going to take these, you're going to deliver them to the world government, so that you can be a Shichibukai, so that the Marines, no one will mess with you anymore. So that's why, and that's the Rocky Port incident.
Okay.
So that's why I think Law is going to be in sword.
How do you think they spun it for Koby though? Because he was like portrayed as
Koby
like
came out as a hero, I remember, right?
Yeah, Koby came out as a hero. So maybe Koby captured, maybe Koby like captured some of these pirates, or maybe Koby it's any, I don't know how you can spin that, but it depends on who the pirates were, what the pirates were doing on this island.
Because the thing I was thinking about is basically it said that Koby was the hero or the one who saved the Rocky Port incident, while on the other hand, Law was kind of the one, the mastermind behind it.
Right.
So that would kind of imply that
they work together.
Either they work together, but like in the official version, at least, it would mean that Koby kind of prevented whatever Law was trying to accomplish, I guess, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I don't know if Koby's
it can't.
Koby is, but
it can't really. You can't really say he prevented him from doing anything because Law became a Shichibukai based off that incident.
Right, but
damage control or whatever, or like they planned it together, then some damage control.
But then it sounded to me as if Koby did something to protect the people at Rocky Port, right? It sounded like, at least for me, it sounded like he protected innocent people from whatever Law was trying to do.
I mean, he might have gotten people out of there, but it sounds like, if Law got 100 hearts or whatever, then, okay, assuming they didn't work together, then if Law got out of there with 100 hearts, then Koby probably... I'm having a hard time imagining Koby stopping Law from doing anything.
The way that I think it's you could spin it, or that it's portrayed to the people, is that he took 100 hearts from from these pirates. So what would have stopped him from taking even more hearts from innocent people? So maybe Koby is credited for protecting citizens, like innocent bystanders or something like that.
Oh, wait a second. Under this theory, then, and this is like, I guess, a general question for both of you. Do you guys think a Kainu part of sword? Because Oda drew that one.
I would say Akainu is a part of sword, especially under the theory that I think he told Aokiji, hey, you have to operate under the Marines, but do it in secrecy. Yeah, but then most definitely.
Then, so does that mean that rebellion, because okay, if Akainu is part of sword or not, that makes a huge difference. Because Drake, Koby, Smoker, these guys being part of sword, they're all a little lower on the totem pole. If Akainu's part of Sword, then does that mean that like one big event in One Piece would be like what is the word? Coup de shit, I don't know
Coup
how to
Coup
d'etat?
d'etat.
Coup
Yes, you
d'etat.
guys know. Yeah, I mean because then that would
Maybe with the world,
somewhere.
maybe with the world government, yeah, there'll be that could be the coup d'etat. Maybe that'll be like when we see uh so all right, you're gonna have the world government. The world government is gonna enact war, or there's gonna be a war that encompasses the entire world, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's after the One Piece is gonna be found. So what I can see is that there's a split between the Marines that agree to what the world government wants them to do
Mhm.
and the Marines that don't agree. Or the Marines that don't
But
agree and the Marines
but
that
like
agree.
if we now saying that Akainu and Aokiji are both part of Sword, to me that would basically imply that the Marines as a whole would rebel against the world government, which in turn would again mean that the world government is fighting on its own, a war on its own, which I guess could be done, but that would mean that Emu and the
Emus
Celestial,
being rogue.
That would be
yeah,
He would
a
have
it would
big.
basically mean that a handful of people is powerful enough to face Luffy, the world, and the Marines together.
I think it would be what it would really do is like I don't think every Marine would just because things aren't going to be black and white like that, especially with the sense of justice and that Oda likes to write.
Mhm.
I think that would be a beautiful moment where you have some characters and they'd have an internal struggle, and that would give a lot of maybe we get Akaino's backstory under those circumstances, and Akainu made made a pledge to himself to always serve, always protect the people or the world against pirates,
Mhm.
and siding with the pirates will go against that or will go against his morals.
Mhm.
So I don't just see it as just because Sword exists doesn't mean that the people within Sword would automatically uh rebel against or would join pirates.
Yeah, so I guess like more of a battle royale or whatever, because then you got Revos, Revolutionaries 2.
I
You
think
got
there's gonna be I think what it is, right, is gonna be an internal conflict, and that's when you'll have, maybe Koby speaks out again.
I definitely think that Kobe speaking at this is one thing by the way, because like lots of people think that Kobe will be very strong.
Yeah, he will be.
I personally don't, just because I've always felt like Kobe's big, like his big character moments are always they're big character moments for him because he's weak, right? Like the first time he speaks out against Alvida, and I think what is it? Helmeppo has him captive, and he's like, "Don't worry about me, just go ahead." And then of course like the big war one. I think Kobe's moments are always effective because he's not strong compared to the people around him. I think he'll be an admiral in like an epilogue of the series, but actually, so I mean, like that's my view on Kobe in general. I don't think he'll, in the context of like the main conflict of One Piece, I don't think he's going to be like a top tier fighter ever. I think he will get another really big moment, and this one's going to be like even bigger than Marineford.
Mm, I don't know, man. Like Kobe's been around since chapter 1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
since
have
like
a big. I could see him even being like in a post epilogue or whatever, like maybe even fleet admiral of the Marines or something, depending how
Kobe?
down the epilogue is. And I think he's going to be like a huge force in like changing the Marines in some way in the main story.
yeah.
But I still think that like him, at least the way he's been used so far, it's always been like through the context of this character is not strong, but he's able to make a difference regardless. So
Right.
that's how I've liked seeing. I don't need to see him personally like take out a really, really strong. I would like to see him get a good fight somewhere down the line, but I don't need to see him like admiral level by the end of the series. Also, I don't like the power scaling in that, so that's my own personal whatever. Because that's like
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think there's gonna be a time skip. I
Oh,
think
you
there's
think another time?
yeah, I think
How
there's
long?
gonna be another time skip.
How long you think?
Uh, I don't know. Like I can't really say
You think in Wano or after Wano?
after. Well,
Okay.
okay, so there's gonna be a mini time skip, and in between the time that we leave Wano, and I think that's gonna serve um, just to see the time or how different Wano is after, the difference between when it was under a
Oh, so
dictator and after.
you think the Straw Hats stay there for like a month or something?
Yeah, like a month tops.
Right.
Just so that they see out Wano,
Blossoming
becoming,
again.
blossoming again. And
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see Wano's borders being open, things of that nature. Possibly other cultures coming into Wano, people leaving outside of Wano. I think all of that is gonna be, there's gonna be like a little narration at the
Okay,
end.
I can see that, and then do
I
some
can see
outside
that too.
world building and stuff too. That's what
Yeah,
I love.
right, with the
So-
world building, and then that's gonna lead into the Sabo and Vivi angle, whatever's going on with that.
Right, going back to Reverie, kind of.
Right. So
Matt,
like,
yeah, go ahead.
oh nah, I'm just saying like I think that the display of time,
Mhm.
and that's also going to give a moment for the rest of those plot points that have been going on, like Blackbeard, Koby and Hancock, Fujitora, wherever he's going, the Shichibukai, all of these things happening. That's going to give all of that time to play out, and once the Straw Hats get out of Wano, it's going to be shit everywhere.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask then? Because I know Ohara basically has the. We're on the same page, right? We both think that the Strides don't win in the Fire Festival. I think we're
You
both
convinced me
that basically.
successfully.
So yeah, so I have a similar line of thought as you do, basically that like there will be there has to be a stretch of time for a lot of outside plot lines and stuff to take place, general stuff. My view is more so they lose the Fire Festival fight tomorrow, or I guess today or whatever,
Right.
and then we get another solid. I don't think a month, but like weeks in Wano. One for the Strides and such to get stronger for real this time, or at least like stronger than they already are. And then two, Oda can circle back and basically show us what the hell's going on in the outside world, because it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on in the outside world right now. So I don't view it as time skip, but I view it as like we're gonna be in like I think Wano's the arc that we're gonna be in longer. And I guess that also plays into my view that like the Straughts are going to be significantly stronger by the end of Wano. Like
That's fair.
all that stuff I'm saying about like Luffy practically Yonko level, multiple billion bounty and stuff. I don't think that any of that's possible at this moment in time. I view that as down the line.
Well, I think that this is going to be the last. Okay, I don't think Wano is going to be more than 110 chapters. So, Enna's Lobby and Water
Wait,
7.
110?
Well, 120 actually. So,
Where are we
Enna's,
right now? Like 70?
yeah,
75?
somewhere in there.
Okay.
Enna's
Ooh.
Lobby and Water 7 are the longest. If you count that as one arc, with it including post Enna's Lobby, that's all about 120 chapters. Okay.
Yeah.
So Oda's on record saying he doesn't want an arc longer than Dressrosa, and obviously Oda, he misjudges. So I can see Wano going definitely longer than 100 chapters, but no more than 120. I think Wano is going to end next summer.
Not this summer, next summer. Okay.
Yeah, next summer.
2021. All right.
I think that's when Wano is going to end. Like, that's when they'll leave Wano. So, the thing is, right, is that I think the Alliance is going to come. I think the Alliance is going to come at the dawn.
Do you think so? You think that basically this is the one, right?
Yeah.
Like they win it here.
Yeah, this is the one because so I can't imagine them escaping. What I can see things happening that may kill the morale of the straw or of the Alliance, but also boost it at the same time. So now, let me just play devil's advocate here, or just throw out another scenario, right? So let's say that they're damaging Kaido. They're inflicting mortal wounds on him. They're doing things to him, but he doesn't die. So then, I don't think that it's a coincidence that we find out that the Op has this immortality surgery where you can't die, right? And then the arc, or immediately after this arc is over, we see Kaido. Kaido cannot die, supposedly. All right. He's been captured plenty of times. He's been defeated plenty of times, but he doesn't die. He's inflicted. Obviously, you can inflict wounds on him, but he doesn't die. So I think that the surgery was used on Kaido, and I also believe that Dofi wanted the op fruit so bad because he knew this. That's the reason why he wanted it so bad. Is because he eventually wanted to take out Kaido. So if Law, a lot of people think that Law is gonna die. So I think Law's gonna be there, present during the fight with Kaido, and he's gonna be wondering, why isn't he dying? Why isn't he dying? And then he's gonna be the one to tell everyone, hey, this is what the case is. This is this is what's about to happen. And Law is the only person, or the user of the op fruit is the only one that's able to reverse the surgery.
I'm actually 100% on board, because I've thought that too. Like, if Law sacrifices it, because Law's fruit, right? Like, in theory, you'd kill yourself to give someone immortality, right?
Right.
But it just doesn't make, because you wouldn't do that for Luffy, like, because you just wouldn't give Luffy immortality, right? That ruins the story.
It ruins it completely.
But like, and just fitting in the idea that Law probably dies in Wano, in my book, Law, I think, should sacrifice himself based on his ability. Kaido supposedly can't die no matter what or whatever.
Right.
Like, I totally agree. Reversing the surgery seems like the best way for Law to go, because like it's
at
like
the point of losing.
Like that's a game changer in terms of fighting Kaido.
Exactly.
And it work out pretty good, and it gives good sacrifice and everything like that.
At the point of him
losing, out of the story, so it's less because having Law in the story complicates things, because it's like another rival, but how do you fit that in? And he's also kind of friends with Luffy and stuff like that. And we don't know how he wants to be Pirate King and stuff. So I'm actually totally on board with that.
And so what I think is eventually going to be, right, is that's going to happen to Kaido, and that's going to be the reason why the fight continues. And you could say that happens around the dawn as well. And so that's all a part of the Grand Fleet arriving.
Okay, so timing it up so cavalry comes around the time that sacrifice is made
at the time. Exactly. So I think that's how that plays out, and that's just my biggest thing is like the war isn't going to end at the dawn specifically, but something big is going to happen at the dawn.
Okay.
And Luffy's gonna. So what I can see, kinda, is like like Luffy standing, or Luffy expressing his will, like he won't go down, something along the lines of that, even after like Law. So this is after Law dies, right? Obviously. So after Law dies, and then after that, boom, maybe you have the alliance. Just the alliance comes with Nekomushi and Marco, or let's say Nekomushi doesn't succeed in bringing Marco, right? But Nekomushi comes back, and Marco is the one that brings the entire alliance.
Sorry, Nekomamushi. Okay, so Nekomamushi comes solo, but then Marco comes in with like the big cavalry.
Yes.
Okay.
In like 2 steps, you mean?
No. So I think that we have to see Nekomushi and Inarashi Sulong form against Jack. Obviously, the only way to do that is through the moonlight. It
has to happen. Yep.
Yeah, it has to happen on a full moon. So maybe Nekomushi arrives a little bit later, and Nekomushi and Marco kind of decide, or Marco tells Nekomushi he has something else he has to do. So on top of bringing the other remnants of the Whitebeard pirates, whoever's left, they go and they get the alliance as well.
All right. So I buy this as all a theory if the final war is this is the
Wow.
final battle. I
If
guess
this is
where we're
now,
split difference-wise is because like that works out. You know, that's like, you know, it's got the down point, then it's got the you know, comeback point, et cetera, bring in reinforcements, all that. Everybody's good. Luffy's will's back up, etc. I still can't believe that this is the final. Or I mean, I can, I guess, to a degree, but I really don't like it, and I still feel like it's not the final battle of Wano.
Well,
It feels too soft.
well,
In
Morj,
terms of where they're at right now, basically, where everything is, you know, it's kind of nobody, like there hasn't been much of a storyline for the Straw Hats for this arc so far. Low emotional investment from them across the board. It feels like things are going deliberately easy for them, and that the Straw Hats are pretty confident. And usually Oda has them fuck up big time at some point, or like hit like a low point somewhere down the line through an arc before having them come back around. So I still feel like we haven't hit that point in the arc yet. Like so far, the arc just hasn't had any sort of significant struggle for them.
mm-hmm.
I think that they have to lose this arc, basically. I mean, this fight, basically, to create the stakes for the arc. So that's where I'm at. There's a few other reasons. I also think, like, you know, Act 3 is usually a lot of tragedy. So considering we didn't end it after Odin's flashback, I would assume that it ends after they get their asses kicked by Kaido, Big Mom, etc. So that's my hope. I'm still holding out for. So that's the way I view it. Also, just some weird stuff like Zoro and Sanji's power-ups seem kind of quick. I really hope that those aren't their final power-ups for the arc, because I don't like the raid suit. I kind of don't like Enma. Stuff like that.
Well,
You don't like Emma?
I like Enma. No, Enma's fine as a, you know, it's cool that Zoro got a new sword, but I don't like it if that's Zoro's power up
for this arc.
But I think I think Zoro
I got a magic sword that makes me do better. It's
I
like,
think
what?
Zoro also got Need Eye as well, though.
Wait, did he pick that up?
Yeah, they picked it up.
Yeah,
But I think that's why So I think Hitetsu was watching Zoro, and you know he's gonna have faith in Zoro as a swordsman. Okay, because he believes that Zoro can, you know, achieve a black blade, so on and so forth. I think that he's gonna offer up Need Eye as an exchange for Sandai.
But they haven't done that yet.
Huh?
They haven't done that yet.
It can possibly have already been done, and we find out whenever Zoro starts to fight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it can already, you know, already be done at this point. And then you have Sanji, where you got Usopp and Frankie that are gonna definitely make modifications to the raid suit. And
I don't like that being Sanji's like main source of power, though.
Well, the thing with the raid suit is that Sanji was just testing the raid suit out. Who's to say that Frankie and Usopp won't enhance the raid suit and add modifications to make it fit Sanji's fighting style more, so that he's able to use.
I don't like the idea of him having to put on like a power up suit to power up. Generally, like I'm fine with the raid suit giving him like some extra abilities, like, okay, you can fly a little faster, you can turn invisible, you get a cape. But I'd rather his main, like, he should get a Haki power up, in my opinion. Like,
what if he gets that in his fight?
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I'm
still hoping to get big power ups during their fight as well.
And that's what I think. Like,
got a ways to go, both of them, I think.
So let's say right that well, Sanji's never used ornament, or not ornament, but hardening.
Yeah, we know the black thing. Right?
Yeah, he hasn't used hardening yet. So if Sanji figures out, okay, to damage these Zoan users a little bit more, I need to figure out how to hurt them. So I think that's how Sanji's going to get ornament Haki. Because obviously a theme in the page 1 fight was that page 1 is a tank. He's just eating everything. And
what was the controversy around the anime episode? Sorry to derail for a sec, but I kind of want to know. I know that when that episode came out in the anime, Twitter was filled with like some people saying like it was great for Sanji, some people saying it wasn't great for Sanji. I don't see the episodes anymore, so I don't really know.
I think it was great. Like,
What did they change? Did they change something?
they just extended the fight scene. So they extended the fight scene, and Page One threw Sanji through the houses, but Sanji was, he was moving around them real fast, just
Mm.
getting a lot of kicks in, getting a lot of hits. Page One was absorbing everything. He was, just taking it all. But the thing is that he didn't do any damage to Sanji. So a lot of people say that Page One looked good, and it made Page One look good. It made Sanji look good. So that's what I hear. That's
watch
what.
them.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot of people not say in regards to that fight, that they both look good.
Okay, so it didn't conclude.
No, Sanji. So Sanji did this thing called a soba kick.
Okay.
It was a real big attack, and that was supposedly like the explosion. Or no, it wasn't the explosion. That like the Straw Hat saw. That was a little bit before that. He did that kick, and then he went up into the air, and then Page One was yelling "Soba mask, where are you at?" And Sanji left.
Oh shoot! But the manga, I felt like he won the.
Yeah, that's the portrayal that the manga made it.
Okay, I guess anime just didn't want to make it like a.
Yeah, I don't think that the anime is ever going to finish off a fight for us that wasn't concluded in the manga.
Okay. All right. I guess that's their choice or whatever. That's fine.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue. I forgot what we were. Oh,
Actually, I will have to wrap it up in roughly 10 minutes. Just
all right.
Where.
Okay, so that's cool.
Get some sleep.
No, that's cool, man.
All right.
That's cool. We're almost at an hour and a half. That's cool. Like I feel like we covered good stuff.
Yeah, we did cover a lot.
But yeah, I think we're just on the power ups.
Right.
I think that if Sanji's obviously gonna have to damage these Zoan users a little bit. He's gonna have to have heavier attacks. So
Yeah.
I think that he's gonna combine his already existing powers, observation Haki, Diablo Jambu, everything, and then have or get the hardening Haki, and that'll be his big power up for the fights. Because what I think is gonna be is like them saying, oh, Sanji attacks really fast, but your attacks don't do any damage to me. Or they don't do enough damage to me.
That does seem to fit where he's been at in his fights so far for the post time skip. Like, if he had stronger Haki, then like his encounter with Doflamingo might go a little different, stuff like that.
Strong. If he would have been able to use ornament Haki against Virgo, maybe his leg wouldn't have cracked. So on and so forth. Yes. So I think that's what Sanji's big power up is going to be. Zoro's, I think Zoro is not only is Enma. Enma gives him better.
Enma for sure.
And Enma gives him better Haki control. So Enma and I believe that Zoro is going to get access to this new level of ornament Haki that Luffy got access to, where he's going to be able to damage you from the inside out.
Right.
Okay. But also he's gonna get Need Eye, as I said, and I feel that Need Eye is an even more enormous power up specifically for Zoro, because of his demon themed attacks, because he already has a cursed sword, so on and so forth. And Ashura is going to that's when he's gonna use Ashura again.
That's what I was gonna ask, if Ashura's, you guys. We're all pretty sure Ashura is coming back, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of saving Ace.
Hopefully in an upgraded version. I hope.
So I think in
I'm pretty sure Ashura's like next reveal is going to be like, it's going to be decked out. Like, it's going to look totally different than pre-time skip.
Yeah.
I think Ashura is kind of like a form of Haki as well. So with Zoro getting better Haki, his Ashura is going to be stronger as well.
One thing I've
with Need Eye.
One thing I've definitely felt, and like I don't know if this is happening. I mean, again, it depends how much longer Wano is. You think it's 120? I think it's longer. I think Ohara is probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd say like 170 or something maybe.
Oh, okay, we're on board.
just to throw out an average number there.
Yeah, but
What, Wano 170 chapters?
I got it around there too, personally. But
so just a quick note. I mean, we talked about this before. I personally don't see Wano like. There's so much to be wrapped up, and I feel like we still have to see. We have 2 Yonkos, we have to see the Straw Hats fight. We have to see some power-ups. We have to get that battle between Luffy and Kaido, of course, and the thing with Big Mom. I feel wrapping up the entire Wano arc in 50 chapters seems pretty impossible to me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Oda is pushing the pace, but it does seem hard. And like again, this is like the really big built up arc. Like this is the arc that he's been building up the longest time. So I just don't know. Again, it depends on if this is the final battle or not or whatever. But I'll just say real quick with Zoro, for example, if this is the arc where he gets Conqueror's Haki, like a lot of people believe, I think that's perfect hand in hand with Ashura, because Ashura does seem to be like, manifestation of his spirit or whatever.
Right.
Getting Conquerors, I think would be especially great if like he's using Ashura in a fight. So we see the upgraded version of it now, but after getting Conquerors, because that that implies that his spirit overall grew, we get an upgraded Ashura basically. I hope to see that over the course, because Ashura, the only thing we understand about it is that it's spirit related. So to me, like getting Conquerors should play into affecting that in some way, or maybe not should, but it would be cool if that was the route that Oda chose.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see.
I agree. Okay, well, guys, I'm gonna slowly get to bed.
Yeah, I think this was good. It was like a full hour and a half and everything.
Yeah. We're I think that's a good point to like wrap it up at. So Ohara, I'm sorry. Before we go, where do you have the bounties being at the end, like after Wano? And then that's where we'll end it at.
All of the crew are the big ones.
Like just just go ahead and name the people that you feel are important, the people that you care about.
I do believe Luffy is gonna be he's definitely gonna break the 2 billion mark. I would put him at roughly. I do like what you said about him not quite beating Blackbeard yet before encountering him. So I would put him like maybe 100 billion below Blackbeard. Zoro, I feel, might just basically similar to Katakuri, just scratch and hit the 1 billion mark. I would like that if he just cracked it. And I would like to see Sanji. I mean, I'm not getting into the whole, I feel like regarding the whole Sanji Zoro debate, I'm not a big fan of that. But I do think, since I like both characters and I feel like both are important to the crew, I would like it if Sanji is at least close to that mark. Doesn't have to be equal, but at least close to somewhere there.
Okay.
I do believe that the rest of the crew also should get significant bounty raises, especially those who didn't get one after Whole Cake Island. I expect like those to get a more significant one. I would hope that maybe Chopper gets a chance to shine and actually, for a change, actually get a proper bounty this time.
Okay. Morj?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of shared.
Yeah, you already said it. All
right, I'll just sound like a crazy person, I guess, till the arc ends. And then if I'm wrong...
No, you're good, bro. You don't... I mean, dude, nobody's opinion is better than another. You see the story in a different light, or you see your story and your interpretation, bro. It's all good.
All right, then Luffy's going to have like 5.
Okay.
Zoro's going to have like...
billion?
Upwards of 2, in my mind.
Okay.
Dude, because I don't think... Let's assume King, if Zoro fights King, right? Zoro fights King. King's going to have like 1 point something, most likely.
Oh, yeah. He for sure does. He has like 1.6, I think. Or 1.5.
I don't think we've even gotten it yet. Like, I think...
Or no, it'll probably... Yeah, because... But, what's his name? Queen's. It's like 1.3,
Queen is 1.4. Look, I mean, so I'll just say this right now.
How much is
Zoro and Sanji beat King and Queen solo, like most people expect, Oda's not going to give them lower bounties than King and Queen. So I see Sanji, if Sanji fights Queen and that's the matchup, Sanji's having above 1.4 bill. I don't know the exact number, but it's going to be above 1.4.
Okay.
Zoro, if he fights King straight up, we assume King's is like 1.5, 1.6. Zoro's cracking 2 bill, I'm pretty sure. And then the others I don't really care about. I think they'll be the only 2 that break 1 billion.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much it.
Well, I'm gonna say I got Luffy. I got Luffy at about 2 point at max. At max, I'll say 3 bill.
All right.
Because I just think that Kid is gonna be elevated a lot. And he's gonna get a lot of credit for things that are going on. So I think, and I think there's gonna be like a 3-way race. So so you say, with Blackbeard, Kid, and Luffy. They'll be like around the same level. I think that Blackbeard's bounty is gonna increase through whatever he's doing as well. And I think, like, going forward, like, it'll be a direct rivalry between Luffy and Blackbeard. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Zoro, I got Zoro at about 1 bill.
Yeah.
I put
Okay.
Sanji. I'd say Sanji is gonna be somewhere between 800, 900. And then Kid, I say Kid is gonna reach 2 bill with whatever happens in Wano.
Yep.
Who else is there? Usopp is gonna get a significant bounty raise. I say Usopp will probably get to like 500 mil.
I'm just saying, like, I think that's actually very possible. It's just funny that it's Usopp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let me see. That's all that I really care about. Everyone else, is
on Jinbei?
Oh yeah, Jinbei will probably get an increase. Jinbei will probably go up past like 500 as well, depending on what he does. And then I think that we'll get Sabo's bounty, a new bounty based off of whatever he's done.
Yeah, Sabo needs a big boost because everyone was surprised that his was only it's only 600, which makes no sense. I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think
maybe after, because I guess Oda was thinking like Reverie's coming up, so I'll just give Sabo his real bounty after that event or whatever.
Like, the next bounties that I think we're gonna see are the Shichibukais, and then maybe like we'll see whatever Sabo did, and those all, like, we're at the point now to where if your bounty is less than 1 billion, it's gonna be underwhelming, especially like in a reveal. So yeah,
dude, that's kind of why I thought that chapter 957 where Oda gave all of the Yonko's bounties, it just didn't make sense to me that at that moment he didn't give the Shichibukais, because like it's gonna be less. I mean, that's fine if he's saving it for another point, but like even when we get Mihawks, it's gonna be like lower than the Yonkos most likely, and everybody else's is definitely gonna be lower. I was just surprised he decided to hold on to them.
Yeah,
because it's not gonna be as impressive as the others. But yeah,
true. But Ohara, we'll let you get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through.
It's a pleasure.
I'll let y'all know whenever I get this uploaded. I might try to get it uploaded tonight. I'm just gonna add some images, some pictures, some GIFs in here, and then and then get it out. Maybe tweak the audio a little bit, but yeah, man, I really appreciate y'all. So we are out. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great night or a great day, whatever it is for you.